Okay. If you haven't watched the demo for making connections, watch that first. If you're absent or you didn't pay attention and you need a little refresher, watch that first. If you know what you're doing there and you're ready to start working with value, you've came to the right place. So you should have a little black scrap piece of paper. If you need one, check the podium. If there's not one up there, check the black cart over by the sink in the room. If there's not one there, ask me, okay? What we're gonna do is we're just gonna quickly practice shading one form using our white charcoal pencils, okay? Similar to what we've been doing, right? You need to practice holding your pencil in the center there. That way we have a good range of motion, practicing that tornado motion where we're overlapping but trying to get a smooth, consistent value. And I am holding the pencil at an angle, not upright, right? At an angle. The thing that you're going to want to keep in mind with this, one, charcoal smudges much easier than colored pencil or graphite. Both of those can also smudge, but it's not nearly the extent of charcoal. And even this white charcoal is not terrible, but you'll notice the more and more you start to rub on it, the more and more it will start to fall off or rub off of your paper there, okay? So if you are someone who constantly lays your hand on your artwork as you're working, you might want to consider laying a piece of paper down to let your hand rest on as you're working. That way you're not sliding it around on your project, okay? Nothing is more sad or disheartening when you spent hours working on something and then your big old palm pad rubs right across it, okay? So keep in mind to save what you've worked on. Don't rub it off, okay? Alright, what we're gonna do here is we are going to make a form together and we're gonna work on adding in value. If I can get my stuff together here. Okay, nope, not that one. Sorry, my paper's a little bit dirty, but we're gonna roll with it. What you need to do, hopefully this is familiar to you by this point, is we need to set up our horizon line, set up our vanishing point 1 and our vanishing point 2, and then draw our form. So I'm lining my ruler up, just gonna put my horizon line in the middle. When you get going on your project, do not put in your horizon line and do not put in your light source in white charcoal. Please put it in very lightly with a number 2 pencil. That way you can erase it when you are done with the project. For the demo, it's okay if you have white charcoal. This is my vanishing point 1 and vanishing point 2. Up to you if you want to make your form below, on, or above the horizon line. Just keep in mind if it is below, we're going to see the top of it. If it is on, we're not going to see the top or bottom of it. And if it's above, we're going to see the bottom of it, okay? I'm going to draw mine above here. So remember, you start out with one line. We are only going to start out with one line. We're never starting out with a shape, okay? 2-point perspective, line, 1-point perspective, shape. I'm going to take the top of that line and the bottom of that line to vanishing point 1 and to vanishing point 2. If you want to put yours or make yours in pencil first and not in charcoal, that's okay. On the official project paper, everything should be done, outlined in normal graphite before you go in with charcoal, okay? Do not make your forms in charcoal because charcoal you can't erase the way that you can erase. a graphite pencil, right? I'm adding in my parallel line here, stealing from that middle vertical so that way I know it's straight. Lining it up, pulling it out. I'm chopping this form off in space. This guy is going to have a bottom piece, right? Because it's above my horizon line, it's not on it. It's going to be a skinny bottom piece. So I need to take the opposite corner to the opposite vanishing point. So this left corner is going to go to vanishing point 2. This right corner is going to go to vanishing point 1. And where they cross in the middle is the bottom of it. I'll line that guy up there. I'm going to line this guy up to the other corner. There you go. So if I kept going, it would cross there to those vanishing points. Pick a spot on here for your light source. I'm going to put mine over here. And again, when you get to your project, don't add this in with charcoal. Similar to our 1-point perspective project, we need to think about how light is hitting this form. Okay, so we have rays coming in from whatever our light source is, hitting the form. If it helps you to label light, medium, and dark, do that. Okay, it is okay to do that. On the project paper, label light, medium, dark with graphite pencil very lightly. For today's demo, if you want to hold on to this paper as a reference, go ahead and label it with your charcoal pencil. Okay, I'm gonna say that this side here is gonna get hit with a lot of light, probably the most light, second most light, darkest. So I'm gonna say this section is light, so I marked L for light. This bottom section is gonna be my medium. It's getting a little bit of light, but not as much over here. And then this back section is gonna get way less light. I'm gonna label it D for dark. So light, medium, and dark. I suggest starting with your lightest area because, one, it's easier to add more to that later if we need to, and just work backwards from there. The confusing thing about this that is a little bit different from working with colored pencil or graphite is that we are already using black paper, so we want some of that black to show through as like the shadow, the darker area. So as you move from your light, medium to dark, you're gonna get a little bit less of that shading and more of that paper is gonna start to come through, okay? So let's go ahead and we're gonna start with our lightest section. A lot of light's hitting this corner, so I'm gonna start with more over here. You can do a gradient if you want. Going in, just a quick layer. I'm not adding a lot of pressure. Just doing one quick layer on my light side of my form. Okay. I'm gonna sharpen my pencil. If you keep your pencil sharpened, you will have an easier time kind of rendering and keeping things really, really clean. Alright. It is okay to go back through and kind of highlight some of these edges if you feel like they're starting to get lost. Clean them up. Go back in. Adding a little bit of a thicker line in there. Add a little bit of a thicker line over here. I'm not going to add that thicker line up at the top just quite yet. I could always go back and add it, but I'm keeping that line where I feel like the light is really going to hit my form. Going in another direction to kind of fill in some of those holes. This paper is a little bit textured, right? You can see some of those spots peeking through. Go in again. All right, I think that's pretty good. I can always come back and add a little bit more if I need to. I'm gonna go ahead and move to my medium. All right, again, I'm going in with some light pressure, filling in that area. And I'm gonna come down here and kind of amp up that bottom line. I think that's pretty good for my medium. I'm doing a gradient where it starts really light, then fades out. Could come back into here and really start to render that light again, just to separate it more from my medium section. There we go. My dark section here, I'm also going to do a gradient, but remember, we want to have some of that black paper shine through. I'm going to go in pretty light and get really light towards that far edge, where I'm almost probably not even going to add anything down here, okay? It's okay to leave a little bit left. And come back in one more time. Boom. So you should start to notice your forms developing as you are adding value in there. That link from One Point Perspective is posted where you can kind of alter the light source on different forms. I had Tech Team unblock it, so you should be able to access it. That is on Schoology for you as well. Just think about how would a light hit this object, okay? Light, medium, dark.